Great. Welcome everyone to our monthly My Speaker Business community call. And we have, I see that with everyone here with us, amazing. We are again spanning the globe, right? We have, of course, people from all over Europe, but also the US. And I know that our Asian friends are already far asleep right now, but we even have people from South Africa. That's amazing. And again, a whole lot of welcome from every one of you that is with us every single month. And we have a few first timers. So for the first timers among you, let me introduce myself first. I'm the founder of Heart Powered Business, and our mantra is speak up, scale up, impact the world. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of clients from more than 50 countries to really go professional with their speaking, and as a result of them amplifying their voice and being out there, boosting their visibility, a lot of them double, triple, even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. And myself, I've been a paid speaker for more than 20 years now. I've been on stage in more than 25 countries on, 5 continents. And if you are really serious about stepping up with your speaking, we have a Speak to Scale roadmap on our website. But this year we created something really amazing. We call it our Speak to Scale calendar, where every single day we give you a tiny fun step that takes you less than 5 minutes that will help you boost your confidence, your ambition as a speaker and entrepreneur, to grow your network, boost your speaking, right? And really take tiny steps that will make all the difference as you keep doing them day in, day in, day out. And we already get a lot of success stories from our clients that are playing with it on a daily basis, that they get booked more to speak, even internationally, right? They get great results. So I know that we have Brenda here from our team, our amazing Brenda. If you can share the link to our Speak to Scale calendar so that all of you can start taking action in a greater way, again, that would be amazing. And if you want to step up with your speaking and you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me personally, where we look at, does your roadmap look like to get booked more to speak, get paid more to speak, and use speaking to grow your business further. Let's arrange a quick session, and let's look at what you can do next to book that next speaking opportunity and step up with your speaking this year. However, this now is not about me at all. This is all about you, all the people that are with us today, and about our amazing guests that we have with us today. So, all our Hot Powered Speaking community calls are sessions to really help you to get practical hints and tips from our expert guests that you can apply right away for your speaking and your business in your business. You can also ask your personal questions on how to make your speaking and business flourish further, exchange with other speakers and entrepreneurs from around the world in our session today, and also get help and support from others on your high priority projects. Or, if it's lunchtime or wherever you are around the world, okay, a lot of people just join us to take a break and walk away with powerful inspiration. These sessions are quite interactive, okay? You can ask your questions anytime. For sure, at the end of our session latest, we will make sure that you get them answered here in this space. Also, keep in mind, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. And, remember, you are a speaker. This is recorded, so, the recording will sit in our Hall of Fame. And we will bring you in also on picture if you ask some questions. But we don't want to scare you. We want you to share your questions, and you can share them in the chat. If you don't want to be visible, let us know. But let's jump into our topic for this month that I know will be a really powerful foundation for you to step up with your speaking throughout this year and beyond. Okay, the promising title was Ancient Insights for Successful Speaking in 2025. And that, again, is not only applicable for this year, but you can learn a lot for what makes this year special and beyond. So if you want to understand the relentless wave of change that's coming your and our way all the time, and how it will impact your confidence and your demand as a speaker, you are in the right place. That's exactly what we speak about today. The secret lies in looking backwards, not just forward. And The secret also lies in becoming part of the inspired revolution. And what the inspired revolution is, you'll find out today, because this is your time to shine. And by the way, we are not talking about AI here. It's just a symptom, not the cause. Okay. So today we will really, uncover how to align yourself with ancient wisdom to stay on message and stay in demand this year and beyond. You'll walk away with a lot of insights on what the inspired revolution is, that in pitfalls that might shake your confidence, and the top speaking trends and themes you need to know, especially this year, to step up as a speaker, expert, change maker, and entrepreneur. Well, and it's not that I bring that wisdom to you. It's actually one of my greatest, most amazing, most brilliant, most powerful friends. His name is Nicholas Haines. Nick is a kindness ambassador. He's a life architect. And for sure, he's a sought after international speaker who has worked with organizations like the United Nations, NHS hospitals, and global corporations. With more than 40 years of experience and more than 50,000 consultations, he helps individuals and teams navigate change, also communication and connection using the power of the five energies. He's also the creator of the Vitality Test and the co-founder of the No More Boxes movement, empowering people to break free from limiting labels and step into our true potential. He also wrote several really inspiring books like The Art of Kind and Flowing Relationships and The Story of Boxes, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that he co-authored with another amazing friend of mine, Runa Magnus, who we also had here as a guest already a while back. So get ready today, and without further ado, I know there's so much more to say about you, Nick, but I would like to give you the stage. So welcome, 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 and everyone put your hands together for this really special man and sage and genius, Nick Haines. Nick, lovely to have you with us today.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me, Monique. And that introduction was fantastic. I hardly recognized myself. So that was good. That's good. You always do those so well. So I want to start off by taking you back 40 years, over 40 years ago. I was in my mid-20s and I was in the south of France on holiday. And I thought it'd be a fantastic idea to go with windsurfing. So I hired a windsurfer. I was with a group of friends in the south of France. I hired a windsurfer, and fairly quickly I knew I was in trouble. The board was really quite a small, slim board. The sail was really big. The sea was really, really quite choppy. And I started to get a bit worried because I couldn't get the sail up and hold the sail up. I couldn't deal with the choppy waves. I couldn't deal with the wind because it kept on coming and going. And what I didn't realize until I was in trouble was that I was actually in a rip wave. And there's a wave that basically takes you out and around the corner. And they're really powerful undercurrents that literally pull you out. So I was drifting out to sea on this board. So I thought to myself, okay, what I'm going to do is I can probably swim to the coast. So I abandoned the windsurfer and I started to swim out towards the coast, thinking I could make it. And I swam really hard for about 10 minutes and I just couldn't get anywhere. I was still going further and further out. So I kind of turned back and got myself back to the board. And by that stage, I was kind of too weak to even pull myself onto the board. So I was kind of holding it. And it was really hot. It was the summer, but the water wasn't that warm, and I could literally just feel that I had nothing, absolutely nothing left in me, and I was drifting further away, and I'd gone right around the coast, so nobody could see me, and I could barely hold on. Um, and it was terrifying. It was also terrifying and upsetting because a year earlier, a friend of mine had drowned. Um, So he drowned in France. And I just imagined what would happen if I drowned as well. Sorry, what would that be like for my family, for my friendship group, if yet another one of us had actually died? Okay, so I'm going to just leave that there and explain why that story is absolutely and utterly relevant to us being speakers and us being speakers in this period of time, and what is so fundamentally important about this moment in time. So, what had gone wrong with that windsurfer, that episode? What had gone wrong is the very things that can go wrong for us as speakers. What had gone wrong for me in that moment that nearly killed me? Um, and there were three things really. The first one was I wasn't an expert windsurfer. I didn't actually know what I was doing. I was out of my depth. Um, I also didn't understand the flow. I didn't understand the currents. I didn't understand what was the wind. I just didn't understand the external movement that was going on. And the third thing was I was just not fit enough to deal with what was fundamentally happening to me. So if we think about that in terms of us as speakers at this moment in time, um, we have to be experts at what we do. We just have to know what it is that we do. And I am not going to talk about being an expert speaker, because we have Monique, we have Heart Power Business, we've got the Pro Speaker course. If you want to learn how to be an expert speaker, many of us here have been on that course, or on that course, have done it. So I'm not going to talk about how we could be an expert speaker. But what I am going to talk about is the flow that we are currently in, the external energy waves that we're coming in. And I'm also going to talk about an aspect that would get us fitter to be able to deal with whatever happens within this world and whatever happens within our speaker thing. And then right at the end of the talk, I'm going to tell you the one thing that saved my life that day. And that is also the same one thing that we also need to do and take into account as speakers. So we okay with that? Do we do that? Yeah. So I have some slides for you. So let me just do a little bit of technical stuff, which will go very smoothly. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Here we go. Now, so windsurfing. Now, as I said, we have a level of expertise to know our craft. As I say, Monique, our business, that's the way to go. I'm not going to talk about that, but then we have to know the flow, the movement and direction that's going on in the world. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the fitness, the ability to keep going within our speaking. And I'm going to tell you about the one thing that actually saved me. Now, with these slides, I've got a fair amount of them. So I've got a page, 5institute.com 123, and it's a very rough page at the moment, but I've got a link to the slides that I will be using. Now, let's look at what we need to understand as speakers in terms of the flow that we are in at the moment, the movement, the direction of the market, the movement and direction of people's energies. Let's look at that first. Now, there are five types of flow, and I'm only going to really look at one type of flow, and that is external flow, which is what I call energy waves. And what the external flow is the flow that is happening in the world, the attitudes, the opinions. It's what's happening within society. It's what's happening within our culture. It's what people are struggling with. It's what people are interested in. And those are the fundamental changes. So I'm going to look at the external flow that we are sitting in, that we have an opportunity to leverage, to speak about, to share about. And once you understand the external flow, you'll understand why certain talks or certain things are of interest and they fire people up, and other things just go completely flat. Now, the best way, I think, to understand external flow and the energy waves, what's actually going on within cultures and societies at the moment, is to go way back in time to an ancient culture that basically were obsessed with external flow, and that was the ancient Chinese. And they were obsessed with looking at how flow happens, what's going on with time. They were looking at different ways to understand the world. And they were constantly recording and exploring and writing and and collating this information. And they came up with a phenomenal system to understand flow, to understand time. And it was so dominant. It was one of the most powerful systems they had. It lasted over 1,000 years, the Zhou dynasty, and it was incredibly powerful as a way to understand flow and time and understanding the world. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of that, and I can only take a little bit of that because most of that information has been lost. And I have kind of spent most of my life trying to resurrect it and understand it. But I'm going to take a little bit of it, and I'm going to look at the Chinese zodiac, and we can use that to understand how flow is going on at the moment and what it is that we need to pay attention to as speakers. Now, this is the way the Chinese zodiac works. Now, each year is related to one of the 12 animals, and it's also related to one of the 5 elements. So basically, each year repeats once every 60 years. So currently, we're about to move into a wood snake year. The last time we had a wood snake year was 1965. So these years occur once every 60 years, etc. Now, each year has a theme to it, a flow, an undercurrent, a vibration. There is this wave and flow to this particular year. It has certain characteristics. And each block of time also has a theme of flow and undercurrent and vibration. And currently, we are in a block of time that's dominated by metal energy. And I'll tell you the significance of that shortly. So these years and these blocks of times have a certain vibration, a certain flow to them. And they resonate with us, just like when you hit tuning forks, one will start vibrating with another. So they resonate with us. They interact with your stars, east and west, your numerology, the essence of who you are. They interact with all of that. Now you think to yourself, oh, okay, so we've got this zodiac, we've got animals, and we've got elements, and we've got me and my stars and my east and my west and my essence, and what the hell anyway is essence? And we can get confused. So I think the best way to us to understand how the energy of these years interacts with us is via something I created called the vitality test. Because the vitality test, in a way, is an amalgam of your east and your west stars. It's the numerology, and really, really important, it holds your the essence of what it is that you came to do when you came to Earth, what it is you came to do, to explore, to be. And within your vitality test profile, it has everything you need to do what it is you came to do. It also has some challenges. Now, with the dominant energies in your profile, we have these dominant energies. That tends to be our focus and our way of seeing the world. And where we have these least dominant energies, where these little dents are, that tends to be where we have our blind spots and our lack of focus. And the vitality test is completely free. Just go to 5 Institute to get, and you can take it there. So I just want to quickly just recap and pull this together for you, and then we're going to start applying it to us as speakers. So there is the year, the energy, of the particular year related to one of the five elements, one of the five energies. There's also the characteristics of the animal. There's also the block of time. Currently, we're in a metal energy block of time that interacts with you, represented by your vitality test profile. So that gives us the external flow, the movement and direction with those things. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down and show you how it applies to you as a speaker. So we have this flow, we have this movement, and we are in it, just the same as me on the surfboard, on the windsurf. I was being pulled by a current, I was being pulled by a direction, and I didn't understand what was going on. So I'm going to tell you the flow, the movement and direction that's going on at the moment so you can understand what's going on and how you can use that to head in the right direction, get more speaking gigs, have more impact, and have a better time as a speaker in 2025 and beyond. So the easiest way, in a way, to think about this external flow, this movement direction, is to think about the energy of this 12-year block of time. So as I said, we're in a 12-year block of time that's dominated by metal energy. It starts with 2 metal energy years and it ends with 2 metal energy years. It's almost as though there is a question, an exam question at the beginning of this block of time, 2020, and there is a test at the end. So out of the 12 years, 4 are metal energy. So it's giving that characteristic. Now, I'm going to take you back a little bit to understand what was going on in the previous block of time, and you'll see why people that got it then did so well. And I'll also then tell you what you can do in this block of time. So in a previous block of time, 2007 to 2019, it was Earth energy. Now, Earth energy is related to understanding, is related to community. Earth energy is about people belonging and collecting together. It's about people coming together. It's about conversations. It's about understanding, etc. So in the previous block of time, what we had was lots of Earth energy things that became very successful. So if you look at all the social media groups, social media groups, they all kind of started either running in the beginning of that block of time or developed during that block of time or became successful during that block of time. We also had lots of bringing up of communities and groups coming together to talk about things, discuss things, to support things. We also had people coming together and getting a little bit tribal. But it was an Earth energy block of time, and you were successful if you created communities or you had things that found different ways to bring people together or educate them. So we saw a massive rise in education. So what's the theme that would be going on with this metal energy block of time that we're currently in? What would you be using as a method to be at the front of the wave and riding these waves? Now, you could do all the community stuff, but you're on a previous wave rather than a new wave. So what would metal energy tell us to do at this particular time? Well, metal energy is related to autumn, to fall. And basically things disconnect, they end there, they finish there. So the essence of metal energy is about letting go, it's about loss, and it's about disconnection. Now, is it a coincidence that when this metal energy block of time arrived, it was 2020? That was about letting go, it was about loss, it was about disconnection. That was the beginning of that conversation. Metal energy is also about a desire for simplicity and efficiency. And it's also a desire for searching for what's missing or incomplete. So we saw at the beginning of that 2020, the beginning of that metal energy block of time, stuff around conspiracies and secrets, things being missing. We also had to let go, we had loss, we had disconnection, and we also had an experience as to say, do I want to have a simpler life? We've also had in this block of time the arrival of things like AI to make things simpler and more efficient. So how would you as a speaker tap into the essence of metal energy, this 12-year block of time that we're right in the middle of it? Well, as part of that experience of letting go, loss, and disconnection, there are lots of people that are fundamentally disconnected. They have lost their identity. They don't know who they are. They're being asked to let go of things all the time. So what if you as a speaker could create a connection with them to give them something new or help them get over their loss? So I gave a talk fairly recently last year, and after it, this young man came up to me, and I did a really nice piece around connection and belonging. And loss, and recognizing that so many of us lost so much in that 2020 period of time. And he kind of came up to me afterwards and said, this is the first time I've had a good acknowledgement around me as an individual. I feel seen. We were looking at the energies. I feel seen. I feel who I am, and how can I stay connected with us? And he's still part of our community, and he turns up to everything because I recognized that there was a disconnection that had gone on, and I created a connection with him. I also did work, and I did workshops around loss, letting go. Or you might, as a speaker, you might say, okay, let me make things simple for you. Or you might say, here's how to use AI to have more efficiency. Or it may be this aspect of searching for what's missing or incomplete. Maybe you're helping people find the essence of who they are, this soul. There can be many, many ways for us to work with this kind of metal energy phase, this metal energy time. So I think it's about creating those connections. So this is a great one. It's the simplest way to do it. And we're only limited by our imagination, but just think it's about disconnection, loss, letting go, searching, and simplicity. Those are the kind of key things. Now let's look at this year that we're in. And this is a wood energy year with the snake. So let's first of all look at what wood energy is and what it would tell us around themes and interests and things that are going on at the moment. And then we'll look at the snake, and then we'll pull it together for you. So wood energy, every energy is related to a particular season. Wood energy is related to spring. And in spring, there's something quite distinct that goes on. There is a phase in which things are trapped, they're stuck. There's a tension that's held there, and then there is a whoosh, everything just arrives. There is a chaos that arrives. So one of the first themes around wood energy is around control, chaos, and creation. It's an incredibly creative, chaotic time where we might feel like we're losing control, we try to get control, or we might feel people are trying to control us. So that's kind of going on. There's also within wood energy, within this creation, you often find people with a lot of wood energy have these fantastic ideas. So not all ideas are good ideas. And so wood energy's got something going on around judgment. There's also, with going back to our acorn, this acorn, once it's burst through the stagnation, the stuckness, the things that are holding it back, it has a plan. It absolutely and utterly knows it's going to be an oak tree. It doesn't think it's going to be a daffodil. It doesn't think it's going to be a turnip. It knows it's going to be an oak tree, and it will push through concrete to make things happen. So there is a determination with wood energy, but it's also about this judgment, plans, and dreams. Then wood energy is also about freedom. Now, if we have a lot of wood energy in us, we'll be constantly asked the question, am I free? Are we free? Let's have some stuff around freedom. So, hey, we've had vast amounts of conversations around freedom at the moment as this time is building up. Now, wood energy is also our ability to stand up against powers stronger than us, to deal with injustices. It's also about times of revolution, of change. It's about us breaking the rules or making the rules or keeping the rules. So that's kind of the essence of wood energy: control, chaos, judgment, plans, freedom, revolution. The snake, what's that about? Well, it's we're heading towards the middle of this block of time. And the essence of snakes are they grow by shedding their skin. So there is something going on about growth at the moment, similar to wood energy, but there is a letting go, similar to metal energy, and there's a releasing of something old. Snakes are also about problem solving, and they're determined. Same way as wood energy, there is a determination, there's a problem solving, there's a creation. And then snakes have this persuasive stuff going on. There's also about secrets and lies and deception. So we've got some secrets, same as metal energy. So if we have this with the essence of the wood snake, shedding their skin, problem solving, determination, persuasive secrets, lies and deception. And then we've got the wood energy. And then you put them all together, and there you have your answer. This is exactly what you need to do into 2025. Just do that. Okay, good. I think I've made that nice and simple for you. And shall we just leave it at that? Or is that a bit confusing? Should I make it super simple for you? Okay, I'm going to give you 3 guiding principles for your speaking at this particular time. These are themes and currents and things that are going on. So the first, I think, guiding principle that we need to do as speakers in this block of time is to be an inspirational guide at confusing times. You know, we are having a vast amount of letting go, of loss. We've got revolution, we've got change, we've got collapse of the old, we've got a breaking down of systems and structures. Now, within the 60-year cycle, these years that we're in at the moment, this year at the moment, last year, this year, and the next year, are out of the 60-year cycle, they are the time of biggest change and revolution. It's literally everything will start to change. So the first guiding principle, which we're going to talk about more in a second, is to be an inspiring guide at confusing times. If you can help people make sense of what's going on, they will flock to you. They will love you. Okay, I understand what's going on. Now, the other one to play with is around rules, revolutions, and dreams. And the third one is energetic authenticity matters more, even more than it normally matters. So let me talk through these ones and give you some examples. So the inspiring guide at confusing times. So you may have, and this is really significant for you as speakers, because the time we're in is a time that is very much for people that have had experience and have experience, that are experts within their field, that have spent time thinking about stuff, preparing for stuff, organizing stuff. So to be an inspiring guide at confusing times, this is an ideal opportunity to give people frameworks, to say, this is how you follow this. This is how you do it. Follow this framework, because people are lost. And it's really important within this time to be inspiring, not just factual, because people are looking for an inspiration to lead them on, which I'll say a bit more about in the second one, which is around rules, revolutions, and dreams. Now, you could, as a speaker, you could say, this is how you break the rules. This is how you disrupt. This is how you do things differently. This is how you stand out. This is how you change the rules of the world we're in. Or you might say, as a speaker, I'm going to tell you the new rules for how things are. I'm going to say the rules of how we operate. So anything around rules will always be attractive within a wood energy phase because of the chaos that's going on. Wood energy, particularly this wood snake year, this period of time we're in, is about revolution. It's about things fundamentally changing, never being the same again. Now, with revolutions, we have 3 sorts of revolutions. We have a tired revolution, and those people say, I'm just so tired of this. I just want things to change. I'm just exhausted with it all. I'm tired. And that will create a revolution. And then we have inspired revolutions. Dr. Martin Luther King, surprise, surprise, 60 years ago, he was doing the inspired revolution. And then we have angry revolutions. And I think we know what that looks like. So within you as a revolutionary, if you want to take the revolutionary route, my suggestion would be to do an inspired revolution. Can you tap into the people that are tired of the way things are? Yeah, but then you're going to have to deal with tired people and tired people's energy. That might not be. So my suggestion is do the inspired revolution. Take people to somewhere that they and expand people's dreams and their hopes. And you might combine this. You might say, being an inspiring guide, talking about the revolution and change, telling people the rules, helping them with their hopes and their dreams. It's no coincidence that Dr. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream at exactly the same energetic period we were 60 years ago. And then the third one is this energetic authenticity matters. Now, what do I mean by energetic authenticity? Now, we know that being authentic on stage really pays dividends. This period of time, people are super sensitive to, remember I said snakes are about deceptions and lies and tricking people into doing things. So anybody that is playing games and tricking and lying and not being authentic will be pulled out like anything because we have almost like a radar looking for things. So we'll see things like a real decline in influencers or people that are just putting out things at front, putting up, pretending to be something that they aren't. For you to be energetically authentic, it really, really matters. Now, I want to just give you a little piece of guidance how to be energetically authentic. Your vitality test profile, the dominant energies within it, will give you certain characteristics and behaviors. So, for example, if you don't have lots of wood energy, I would suggest don't try and be revolutionary. Don't try and be disruptive. Don't try and do that because that isn't your natural state. If you have a lot of wood energy, you're always disrupting. You're always trying to be different. You might want to say you've got a lot of earth energy. You might do your authenticness by allowing people to belong and allowing people to connect, to do it that way round. So use the authenticness is just the same as we see with actors. So someone like Daniel Craig has lots of wood energy. So he has roles where he's determined or he's trying to solve problems or he's has this force that can't be stopped. Whereas someone like um, Johnny Depp has a lot of metal energy, and that's he's always playing characters that are disconnected and not quite there. So the characters actors play tend to match their energies. Someone like Tom Hanks has a very round energetic profile, and he can be anyone he wants to be. So your vitality test profile will show the authenticity. And I think if you can match your speech to the authenticity of your energies, then people know and feel it's true. Now, we could have got away with that in previous years, but actually it really, really matters that we are shining with our energies. There's also within this snake year, it is a matter of us shedding our false persona, getting rid of the parts of us we became in order to comply to our families, in order to be the person people want us to be. This is a time where we need to be releasing those, the things and ways that we're behaving. Okay, so those are your guiding principles to do and to follow. And there will be examples to do it. So that's me having kind of covered an overview of the flow and direction. Now, I do a big masterclass on this, 1.5 hours, where we go through everything in more depth. But as speakers, follow those guidelines. Remember, you've got these slides, just follow those guidelines and we can talk about that some more. Now, the third thing I want to just talk about, I want to talk about fitness. So I was not fit enough to be on that board, or more precisely, because I didn't have the expertise and I wasn't understanding the flow, my fitness, my ability to keep going was called into question. Okay, so I want to talk now about your ability to keep going at a time where there is incredible change going on. And to do this, we're going to play with time. We're going to look at the past, present, and future. And we're going to look at something called the curse of new knowledge. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to stop sharing my slides. Do that correctly. Yeah, here we go. There we are. And have me speaking. Okay. The curse of new knowledge and this fitness thing. Let me explain how this works. Now, like I say, this is playing with time. So I am in the here and the now. And me in the here and the now, I learn some new information. I learn something new, something I didn't know before. That means I perhaps made a mistake or didn't do something. I have got new knowledge. There is a possibility what I do is I go back to a previous version of me and I say, oh, why was I so stupid? Why did I do that? Why did I make that? Why on earth? And I literally, I go back and I beat up an earlier version of myself based on this new knowledge. I literally go back and I'm critical about them. I'm unkind, I'm cruel. And I say, oh, why did I do that? Based on what I know now. Now, obviously, that version of me that did that thing then didn't know what I know now. It did it in all good faith, but yet I go back and I beat them up. Now, there's a number of problems with this. The first one is that earlier version of me, the foundation of how I feel about myself now is based on my past. And if my past was wrong and foolish and made mistakes, then me here and now, the foundation of me has been diminished as a result of doing that. So I become less and less confident in the here and the now because I have no past telling me I was okay. But that is absolutely not the worst of it. The completely worst thing of this whole thing is that if that's the game, if I'm going back and able to beat up a previous version of myself, that means a future version of me is constantly beating me up in the here and the now. But if you understand that all versions of us exist at the same time. So if the rule is I beat up an earlier version of myself, that means then the future version is constantly beating up me. So again, my confidence to be okay and to get through things. And the sign of this that this is going on is just when you're about to try something new, you suddenly start to feel anxious, like you're going to do something wrong, like you're going to make a mistake or whatever. That is your future giving you a really, really hard time because you are going to do something wrong if you're stretching and trying. So if you have the pattern of beating up earlier versions of yourself, then future versions of you will be beating you up. That is a given. Does anyone want to know the solution to this problem? Yeah? Really simple. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop beating yourself up. Now, can you go back and you go, oh, that's interesting. Now, what can I learn from that? You can go back and you can reflect. You can think about it. You can learn from it. You can grow. And that's completely different than going up and going, God, why was I so stupid, blah, 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 etc., etc. So you just stop it. You don't do it. And when you find you have done it, you just apologize, say, whoops, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. I do apologize. And you have another go and you're kind to previous versions of yourself. If you do that, and I believe that we should make a pledge, that we should write something down, say, I promise to be kind to previous versions of myself, to learn from them, to grow from them, and to encourage and to cheer them on. And you write that as a pledge and you stick to that pledge for a very, very short amount of time. You stick to it, you keep to it. What will happen is you, in that moment of time, will have changed the whole of your future. Your future will be different because your future now doesn't beat you up anymore. You change your timeline and it just doesn't, and it will probably start to warn you when things aren't going too well. Say, you might want to look out for this. It's called our intuition, a future version of us cheering us on. So as speakers, when we start to wobble, what we desperately need to have is a future version of us cheering us on. When we want to have gigs in our hopes and our dreams and events and things that we want to go to, we want our future version of us being our best cheerleader, saying, pick up that email, write to that person, you can do it. Because it's telling you that you're about to get that gig if you just were brave enough to do it. And the opposite is a future version of you telling you you're useless and you can't do it, and you'll just wobble the whole time. So if you don't do anything other than ignore everything else, but make that pledge to be kind to previous versions of you, and then future versions of you will be kind to you and you will elevate up like nothing else. That simple understanding was some of the reason I had a 2-year waiting list to work with me. Some of the reason I did over 50,000 consultations. Some of the reason people's lives fundamentally change, because you change forever. Okay. The other stuff I talk about is more complex, but totally worthwhile understanding and studying. But self-kindness to previous versions is utterly life-changing. So I encourage you to write that pledge. Okay. What I'm going to do now is we're just going to take a few questions, see if anything's come up from that, any things people want clarifying, and then I'm going to tell you the one thing that saved my life that will also impact you as a speaker. Okay, so any questions? First of all, was that helpful, interesting, different way of looking at things? You can see lots of people nodding. That's good. Thank you. Now, any questions, any thoughts, observations?
Absolutely. I know, Doug, you had a question. Doug, do you want to jump in? Do you want to jump in and ask your question directly?
First of all, thank you, Nicholas. Greetings from 2 degrees above zero Fahrenheit, Jackson, Michigan, USA, with a 9 below 0 real field temperature.
Wow.
My question is, I gotta go back to it. I gotta remember where I left it. Are there specific themes of content messaging to audiences this year when it comes to mental health, specifically as a speaker on suicide prevention?
Yes, yeah, that is such a good question. And I think probably the most important question for me that we could have. Because we are in a metal energy block of time, and it's about disconnection and loss, we are seeing an absolutely abnormal level of suicides because there is both the isolation, the disconnection that we have physically, but also the sense that there is nothing will change. And there is a push for us to disconnect. So suicide is a very, very real risk. I think the themes are probably what you're already doing around people being honest, about people speaking, about people supporting. I like the understanding of the energies of what's going on because it makes people recognize that there is an external driver for them to do, potentially commit suicide, and it is temporary. And the energetic understanding, and I did quite a bit of work with this. In that suicide comes when we have a number of things coinciding at the same time. So the first one is a very, very low energy, as in I don't have any energy to continue, coinciding with nothing is ever going to change. So you put those two things together, nothing will change, and I am too tired to continue. An absolute logical assumption will be, therefore, I will end my life. If either of those two things are resolved in any way, then suicide drops down. And I remember I had a patient that came to see me and they brought back a book to see me. And I thought, this is really strange. Why have they brought that book back? And they were really, really happy and they were really jolly. And I took their pulses when I was acupuncture. I took their pulses and they were totally stagnant. Their energy was stuck. So I knew that they couldn't see any change. And I also, their energy was, they were utterly exhausted. And so I thought, why is this person happy when they're exhausted and they can't see change? And I remember my father, who was a psychiatrist, said to me, people before they commit suicide are actually often quite happy because they've found a solution to their biggest problems. And I remember thinking, you're about to commit suicide. That's why you've given back the book. That's why you're happy. So what I said to her was, can I ask when you're thinking of paying me for the end of this session, can I ask you to pay by cash, please? She went, yeah, why? I said, well, because I think you're about to commit suicide and I'm going to have a number of problems. The first problem is I'm going to miss you. The second one is I'm going to feel really guilty. And then the biggest problem is I'm going to have a bum check because I'm not going to be able to cash it because you'll be dead. So at least if you paid cash, I can go out and buy a drink. And then she said, how do you know I'm going to commit suicide? And I said, because your energy is stagnant, you cannot see any future, and you have no energy to continue. So what we did was we just did some things to give her a possibility of something different. And she didn't do it. So the themes are hope, possibilities, something different, or giving them some energy to continue by leaning on our communities. And I apologize, that's a long answer, but it's a really important question because it is literally epidemic levels at the moment of people doing it, or people are not doing it quickly. They're not committing suicide quickly. They're committing suicide very slowly over a long period of time with poor diet, poor eating, poor things.
Thank you. I say that because 26 years this August, I will be 26 years in recovery from my first attempt.
Yeah, bless you. Bless you. Can you recognize that stuckness and no energy to continue as a driver?
I have purpose now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at this period of change we've got where people are in between two places and people have lost purpose because they have yet to find their new purpose. And as speakers, if we can give that or indicate or give them hope, whatever, we literally will change the world. There is no better time to be a speaker at this moment in time, just on the virtue of lifting people, moving people, inspiring people, giving them hope, giving them direction, giving them rules, whatever, all the stuff we talked about. Thank you, Douglas. Lovely question.
Okay, so I don't see any other question in the chat, but I'm sure there's a lot of people here that want to know, like, how do they use the current time's energy to elevate your speaking?
There is one question, if I can interrupt.
Unmute yourself and just, just share it with us.
Hi, Nick. It's Juanita from Somerset West in South Africa. I love, first of all, I'm so excited. It feels like, I want to shout out, I've arrived, because exactly what I'm busy working on it fits so well with your explanation. So thank you very much for that. Really excited about it. I think, and Douglas was speaking earlier. Douglas, congratulations, if that's the right word to say, for your 26 years. It's such a big accomplishment. Someone like Douglas, who has successfully overcome that struggle that he was dealing with, seems on the surface to be the expert speaking to people about how to overcome the suicide situation or the feelings around that. I recently had the stroke, so I want to speak to people that have physical problems or confidence problems, but I haven't had a 26-year successful overcoming that problem. So you can't see me as the expert. You can see me as the person 2 steps ahead of you or 3 steps ahead of you. How does that differentiate in positioning in the market. You know, if I want to go to a physician, I want to go to someone that's really a specialist to operate on me. I don't want someone that's still trying to learn how to do that. Do you understand my question? How do we position that in the current times?
Yeah. So one of the issues when people become experts and have some distance between their original first experience is that they can lose touch with the early stages of the experience because they are so far on. So there is a value in living the early part of the experience and just being a few steps ahead. You know, it's like that thing when someone is so far away from the problem because they have dealt with it that they are no longer relatable to. They're no longer, and there is an authenticity about a recent experience that people know exactly and literally just a few steps ahead. The other thing I think is really significant and important here is that the business around the stroke or any disability or any getting over it will be a component within a bigger experience. It's a label within a bigger experience. And as I'm not sure whether I said, but this era we're in, this block of time that we're in, is you say, okay, nowadays is for the young. It isn't. This era of time is for the experienced. If you look at the 1960s, yeah, you had the Bob Dylans and this and that, but it was the Joseph Campbells. It was the Buckminster Fullers. It was all the people that had experience that were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that actually became the leaders of that time. So you have had a short amount of experience within the stroke, but that isn't what we're after. We're after for all the other stuff you had before that is your experience that you can then lean into to deal with this. Yeah? Whether that, and that could be your experience as a speaker, it could be whatever it is, but I promise you there is a ton of stuff there that actually is the real stuff, and the stroke stuff is the headline, and the real stuff is underneath. Yeah. Cool.
Great. Anyone else?
Hi.
Go ahead.
I don't like stealing money today.
Okay. Hi, Beth. Great
Hi,
to
Beth.
have you. What is your question for Nick?
Nick, I don't like mailbox. I don't like mail deliveries.
All right. I don't know if that is a concrete question for Nick at the moment. Okay, Beth, if there's anything, you would like to ask Nick, let us know. But I don't
I got all the chat message today.
Oh, okay. I can see a message from Jackie saying, Nick, focus on metal and wood.
Yes.
We are in a metal snake. Are we in a metal snake or a wood snake year? We're in a wood snake year within a metal energy block of time. This is all around layers. It's all built up around layers. It's kind of, we're in so it's layers, but we're in a wood snake. We're going to go into a wood snake year. So we're having the snake energy. And then we've got a metal energy block of time, which we're in until 2032. So just want to do the metal energy stuff, just do that.
Great. Okay. Mandy raised your hand. Mandy, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. And just a really big thank you, Monique, firstly to you for organizing this, and secondly to you, Nicholas, for just sharing so generously. So grateful. And it's not a question, it's just a comment. I love the energetic authenticity, because you can have the energetic, but it's not authentic, and you have the authentic, but it's not like energetic, but together, I think that is really powerful. So thank you.
Yeah. And you know the kind of brilliant thing about that, Mandy, is that if you are being energetically authentic, it is not tiring doing what you do. Whereas if you're out of it, it's blooming exhausting. And there's a really interesting thing we've got going on this year, and it's some of the stuff we're doing in one of our programs, and that's something called our first expression. And what that is when we first will start to be ourselves as a 3, 4-year-old, what we're doing is we're manifesting the pure energetic state of who we are. We come out. Now, the issue can be if you are born into a family that doesn't appreciate that pure, authentic expression of your energy, you believe there is something wrong with you. I was constantly told to stop mucking around, stop being so foolish. So I lost humor. I lost my ability to be humorous. We have other people, if you're low wood energy, if you're a rebel and you're disruptive, and that is not appreciated, but having lots of earth energy about listening and caring and being nice is appreciated. You boost up one energy, suppress another, and as soon as you start to do your wood energy, you feel really uncomfortable, like you're doing something wrong. This year, out of the 60-year cycle, is the best year to deal with your first expression issue. And we desperately need you to deal with your first expression issue, because it is your expression of your energy that will make you the best speaker in the world for you to do, and your message. And you won't be tired, and people will pick it up and they go, God, I love what you're doing. Yeah, really important. So
Awesome.
thank you for picking that one up. Really, really important.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Right, I see a lot of hearts coming in, right, and flying around for, you sharing your wisdom, Nick. And again, I think it's just so important for us as speakers to understand what times we live in, because again, we are the messengers. We are the spark of hope for a lot of people, right? And again, if the more we know about the current times and what to pay attention to, the more powerful we can bring our message across and build connection not only with people's minds, between mind to mind, but also heart to heart.
Yeah.
Love it.
We are the lifeboats with people drowning.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay. Okay, like Julia is saying here in the chat, my parents did not really see my juggling and my creative energy and feel so much better since I allow myself to live it. That's exactly powerful, right? Okay, Nick, I don't see any more questions coming in, but you still owe us, the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
can't wait to hear, how the story, and I'm eternally grateful that you made it back for sure. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have missed such an amazing friend, genius, and the world would have missed you in the greatest way. So do you want to share your story with us, or also I see some people want to connect with you and want to learn more from you. So Brenda, maybe we can share again the link to where Nick will upload the slides tonight, and later on today. And Nick, I think you also wanted to share something else, and then round it off with a powerful message and
Yeah. So, we share. So the link in there is one of the programs I'm about to run, called Becoming the Energetic Architect in Your Life. And it looks around our energy and how we can be authentic and how we can step into our energies and how we can design a life. It's designed for this moment in time. That's why all my programs are designed for the energy of this time. So that starts. And then you've got a link for the actual slides. Plus, I'll put a few little gifts for you in there as well. As Monique said, I owe you the end of the story, don't I, as to what actually happened and what saved my life. And I hope you won't be disappointed with this, or obviously not disappointed my life was saved, but what saved my life was my friends and being loved. That's what saved my life, because they wondered where I got to. They couldn't see me. They missed me. They loved me. And so they sent out the lifeguards to the rescue boats. And that's how I was saved, because of friends. So stick in communities, be with your friends, be things like this heart pad speaker, people that are cheering you on, uplifting you, making you okay, allowing you to make mistakes. It's our friends. Be good friends to other people. Be a really good friend to yourself. Be kind to earlier versions of yourself, and your future will be your friend, and it will cheer you on. It will give you the most amazing opportunities. And then the final thing, I think, with friends, with us as speakers, if you tap into the energy, into the flow of what's going on at that moment, and people in the audience do that, and you are energetically authentic, then those people in those audience will be your friends. They will absolutely link with you. They will want to be with you, and you will facilitate them being friends within that group. And it is friends that fundamentally allow us to exist and get through this and deal with it and keep safe. And it's what saved me on numerous occasions, to have friends. So thank you, my friends, for listening to this and for sharing this time with me. It's been very special. Thank you.
And it is friends like you, Nick, that inspire us on a daily basis and inspire our communities on a daily basis. And I hope you all feel inspired today. And it's also friends like all of you that, that make my heart sing, that give my life meaning, and that you give to each other meaning, right? And it's true that it's these connections, right? And also, hey, it's the year of the snake, right? Yeah, we shed some skin. Maybe some people fall out of being friends, but more importantly, the people that want to be friends with the version of who we are today will show up. And we just really need to open up and be able to see them, embrace them, and allow them to help us become the greater version of ourselves. As speakers, as change makers, as beings in the first place. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I see, thank yous coming in here, right? Me too. Love to see you. I haven't seen you for a while since we met in Paris, right? But, thank you all for being here. Mandy, Anita, Julia, Brenda, everyone. Thanks for asking your amazing questions. Thanks for allowing us to inspire you. Okay. Keep in mind what Nick shared with us today. Okay. Embrace the inspired and inspiring revolution. Okay. Let it carry you, and you be the one that carries others. And that's how we change the world. So thank you all for being on. Next month, we will be back with another session. But for now, I just want to thank you, Nick, for being on with us. Is there a final statement, a final message you want to leave all of us with?
Yeah. With any of these things, you're only really ever as good as your audience. And I just want to say I've been fantastic. Thank you.
You have been, and you all have been, and we love you for it. And so all of you go out there in your own unique way. Yep. Seriously, honestly, make speaking a priority this year. Okay? The world needs you. The world needs your message. The world needs your inspiration. As Nick said, people are looking for guidance, for inspiration, for ways that help them bring themselves to a new level in an easy and joyful way. And each and every one of you can. So let's step up together. And as I always say, go out there in your unique way, speak up, scale up, and impact the world in the most powerful way. Let's do it together, my friends. Loads of love, and see you soon.